These days, it seems like it's getting harder and harder to try and find salespeople that you can actually use to grow your company. In this video, I'm going to talk about how I go ahead and build a sales machine for my business so that way I can create sustainable and consistent growth over time, and I can rely on that sales machine to continue to perform month in and month out. So before you even think about hiring salespeople or a sales team, there's a few things that you're going to want to make sure that you have before you actually go out and hire for a salesperson. Many small business owners want to go out and they just want to hire a salesperson, and kind of like they do with their other virtual assistants, they kind of just want them to figure everything out and help them grow the business without really truly supporting them. And so there's three things that you really need to make sure that you have before you hire that first person. The first thing that you're going to really need to make sure you have is a consistent and probably large lead flow. Now, this depends on your business and who your audience is and the service that you're selling, but you're going to want to make sure that you can feed a salesperson. The quickest thing that you can do to slow down a salesperson or get them uninterested or have them lose energy is to not have enough leads to keep them busy. So this doesn't mean that you should have enough leads just to keep them busy. You should have more than enough leads to keep them busy, almost enough for 1.5 or even 2 salespeople, so that way they have the motivation and they have the energy to continue to process these leads, and they almost always kind of feel like they can never quite catch up. This is going to let your salesperson know that you have more than enough leads and sales flow for them to actually make money and reach their own goals. So you definitely need to make sure that you have a consistent and large lead flow, whether that is coming from Facebook ads, Google ads, whether that's come from organic marketing, whatever it is, make sure you have a large lead flow that will overwhelm your salesperson or your sales team when you get started, to make sure that they always have work and leads that they can process, and they always have a pool of opportunity, really is how you want to think about it, to make money for you and for themselves. The next thing that you're going to want to make sure you have in order to make sure your salesperson can effectively do their job is a proven process to convert those leads that you're getting into sales and clients. I have seen so many times when a business owner thinks, oh, I've got leads, let me just go hire a salesperson. And then they get frustrated when that salesperson can't close their leads. Just because you've hired a salesperson doesn't mean that salesperson should come in and automatically know how to close your clients. Remember, when that salesperson, that sales team comes in, they have to learn your product, they have to learn your audience, they have to learn the scripts that you have and the general process and flow for that lead to become a customer with you. So there is a big learning curve. Now, obviously, if the salesperson is more experienced, they have more good training, then they should be able to come in and adapt to those things quicker. But if you do not have a proven process that you can give to your salesperson and say, hey, if you do these things, if you say these things, if you go in this order, you are likely to close these leads into customers, versus just randomly spouting out things, trying. This is going to give your salesperson confidence, and it's going to give them a demonstration, because if you have a proven sales process and a proven flow, then what you can do is say, hey, look, you can point to past results and say, this is exactly how you've done it. These are the results that we've gotten before, and this is what you can do to make sure that you get results going forward. Now, you can always work with your sales team, your salesperson, to improve these results and to make sure that you're always going to be optimizing that process and flow, but you have to have a proven system and process, not just any system and process, a proven process. This means you need to have had consistent results for several months on end, at least, taking your leads from not even knowing who you are to understanding who you are, what you do, and building enough value with them that they want to actually become a customer with you. And the last major thing that you're going to want to make sure you have before you hire a salesperson is going to be testimonials and proof. One of the biggest things that holds salespeople back from being really successful in any sales position they take is a lack of belief in a product. In order to be able to overcome objections and be able to be passionate enough to really sell someone on the end result, they have to believe that that person, that lead is actually going to benefit and get that end result. If that salesperson believes that, they are much more likely to actually put in the effort and the energy and actually care about the service that you're selling and help your client see that this service is really going to help them and make an impact in their life. If you don't have testimonials, if you don't have a track record of results, your salesperson is going to feel a lack of confidence. They're not going to be sure whether what they're selling is really beneficial or not, whether it's really going to help the person that they're talking to on the other end of the phone, and that is absolutely going to affect how they talk with those leads and how they convert them. So you have to have some kind of track record of proof. Testimonials are great. Examples of past clients are great, where they were, where they are now after they've been working with you, how their life is different. Even if you can take your salesperson and you can put them on the phone with existing or past clients, so that way the clients can tell them from their own mouths the experience they had, plus then this is great content for your salesperson to be able to reverberate the exact words to the people they're talking about and say, hey, I just talked to so-and-so and they got these results. Are these results something that you'd be interested in? Let's see if this is a good service for you to go ahead and implement for your goals. So absolutely got to make sure that you have track record of success of implementing your service and it benefiting your clients. Okay, once you have those three things already set and ready to go, that's a big hurdle out of the way. Now you're going to need some systems to go ahead and make sure that when you hire a salesperson or hire a sales team, that they can go ahead and operate smoothly and you can track all of the things that they're doing. Just like in the marketing machine, you want to be able to track everything that your sales team and your salesperson is doing, again, from the leads that are coming in to how many conversations are being had and how many are converting, and so much more data. You want to be collecting so much data so you can see exactly where the bottlenecks are, so that way you can go ahead and fix those bottlenecks, fill those gaps, and continue to open up the process and the flow, so that way more of your customers and leads can come through and become customers. So the first system that you're going to absolutely need to make sure that you have is a CRM. This is called a customer relationship management tool. And really all it is, it's just a database for you to be able to store the contacts that you're getting. So if someone signs up on a lead form online, they get inputted to this system. Now, you should also have some additional functionality with the CRM in order to make it really beneficial for your salesperson. You should be able to have that salesperson notified every time that they get a lead. You should be able to have that salesperson leave notes when they contact that person. It should track what kind of contact they've made. So did they call them? Did they text message them? What time did they call? Did they reach out? Did they email? It should be tracking all of that activity, so that way you can see exactly how your sales team is performing. And again, this is going to help you see where the bottlenecks are in your process, and this is going to help you build a well-oiled machine and make sure that you're solving any gaps and everything is free-flowing. This is how you start to build this machine that actually works without you having to pull all the levers, press all the buttons, and really work for your business. So the next tool that I recommend is a phone call tracking software. Now, I say phone call tracking, but really you should have a piece of software, and it can be your CRM, but you should have a piece of software that tracks calls that are made, text messages that are sent, emails that are sent out, even Facebook messages, LinkedIn messages, any way that your sales team or your team in general are reaching out to clients, you should have a system that's tracking it. Now, it should track when these messages are sent, what messages are sent, and it should also, if your team is making calls, should record their calls. This is a massive part of making sure that your sales team is, one, performing to the expectation that you have for them. They need to be performing at a certain level of activity every day to make sure that they're hitting their goals, but also to make sure that the quality is there. You want to be able to listen to phone calls to see how your team is actually performing. So many times when I'm training salespeople, we will do a review saying, hey, how was your last week? And they'll say, oh yeah, everything was good, everything was great. And then as soon as review 1 or 2 calls, everything falls apart and they go, oh my gosh, I was horrible. Like, help me with this. I need to do so much better. So you absolutely need to be making sure that you're tracking their activity as well as exactly what they're doing and what they're saying to make sure that they are processing and communicating with your leads in the way that they need to get good results and get sales closed. I'm glad you're enjoying the video. If you need help with hiring, training, or managing your VAs, make sure you click the link in the description below to check out our free VA hiring workshop. If you need one-on-one help with me, click the link to schedule an appointment to see how I can help. All right, so once you have the systems in place, the next thing you're going to do is to build your team. Now, this can be the fun part, but it can also be pretty frustrating because we live in a world where it's very difficult to find people that have the initiative, that want to actually go out, create something from nothing to an extent, and really create a environment where they're thriving and being successful and reaching their own goals and contributing to your goals as well. But the way I would go and set this up because of the environment that we're in is to have multiple people fulfilling your sales process. So the day of hiring one person to go out, find your leads, process the leads, and then onboard the customers and then manage the customers really doesn't exist anymore. One reason is because volumes have to go way up pretty much for every business. Of course, it does depend on what kind of business you have, what kind of clientele you have. But for most businesses, the volume has to go way up because attention is so scarce right now. The other is just because of the work ethic that most people have, and certain skills are dying off, like being able to go out and hunt, how I call it, for customers. Having that initiative to actually go out and find a lead, convert the lead, and then nurture the lead into a customer is becoming pretty rare. So you want to set your business up. You want to set your sales team, your salesperson up for success. The way I would do that is by hiring multiple people to fill the process. So what does this look like? Well, in my opinion, and what I would do is you should have one person who's a appointment setter. So this person is sending out the emails, they're sending out the DMs, they are responding to internet leads. Whatever your process is, they should be doing the very top of the funnel outreach to be generating the interest and setting up appointments for your salesperson. And then obviously the next person that you would hire is a salesperson. This person is going to show up and they're actually going to meet with these leads. So while there is some overlap in these different positions, you can start to see that, hey, if someone's on the phone or in a Zoom meeting all day and they're in this one mode, there is a different skill set and there is a different mode of this, hey, let me send out direct messages, let me send out these emails and ask these questions and see if people are interested in setting appointments. So while this process does actually fit the current mode of where people are at in general these days with, sales positions, it does also make sense from a skill set point of view. You can really focus on hiring someone who is a really good appointment setter, and then you can hire someone who's a really good salesperson, someone who can really communicate verbally well with someone, who can present an idea, who can paint a picture, versus your appointment setter is going to be more kind of to the point and going through volume. Your salesperson is going to be spending more time building more value and really having a conversation with your leads. And so once you have your appointment setter, you have your salesperson, the last position I would hire for a basic sales team setup is going to be your customer experience manager, your customer relationship manager, whatever title or position you would want to think about this as. It's going to be someone who's going to be taking the handoff from your salesperson. They're going to be processing customers, onboarding customers once your salesperson has collected the money and sold them on becoming a client. Your customer relationship manager, or whatever you want to call them, is going to be taking that client, onboarding them, and then managing that account going forward, managing that customer experience going forward. And so again, you can start to see that if you had a salesperson who was every day supposed to set appointments, and then they're supposed to process those appointments, and then they're supposed to work with customers and make sure they're having a good experience with your product or service, that's really going to force them to shift their mindset quite drastically multiple times a day, especially if they're prospecting and then they do an appointment and then they go back to prospecting and then they have to work with a customer. It's just not setting your team up to be as efficient as it could be. And again, you can hire people that are very specifically designed, have the skill sets designed to really maximize each one of those roles. And again, just take that customer experience, that lead experience to the next level, make them feel really cared about. And honestly, when has anyone ever complained about having a dedicated person that helps them with each of their process of working with you as a customer? Okay, so now that you have your sales team built, one of the crucial things that you're going to want to make sure you do is have your sales team work and be integrated with your marketing team. One of the best ways to do this is really just to have a growth meeting or a check-in meeting, again, however you want to call it, every other day or every day, whatever the frequency works out for your business. You want to make sure that you have a meeting with your marketing team and your sales team. This is important because they're going to be able to give feedback to each other. And so if you have your marketing team saying, hey, this is kind of what we're seeing from a customer point of view, this is what we're seeing people are engaging with and interacting with online, then they can relate that to the salespeople, and salespeople are maybe starting to work in different trends that are happening or different content pieces that you guys are creating. Oh, hey, did you see this blog or this video that we put out? Oh, this would answer your question. It'd be amazing for you. It's absolutely phenomenal. So once you have your sales team put together, the next thing that you want to make sure you do is you integrate your sales and your marketing team so that way they can actually help each other improve and give your customers and leads a better experience. Your marketing team is going to be able to relay information to your sales team about different content pieces, different points of view, different topics that are working well, and your sales team will be able to give direct feedback from the leads and the customers to your marketing team saying, hey, we're having a lot of people ask these types of questions. They're not seeming to be able to find this answer. They're questioning this a lot. And so this is why this customer came to us. This is actually going to be very crucial to making your marketing better as well as making your sales process more effective. So having a way to integrate your teams, you can do this through a meeting, which is maybe a check-in meeting. Hey, where are we today? What did we do yesterday? What's the goals, for today? And then what are we doing tomorrow? You can do this however the frequency works out best for your business, but make sure that they are integrating and communicating to develop both teams in your business. Okay, and so the last thing you really want to be focused on when it comes to hiring the sales team and putting the finishing touches on your marketing machine is going to be compensation. So there's a lot of different compensation models out there. Typically what I see the trend is that most small business owners want to actually underpay their sales team because they tend to hire salespeople with the expectation that it's not going to work out. And really what you want to do is you want to incentivize your salespeople to perform and outperform even what they think your expectations of them are. So if you want them to do X, you want them to be incentivized to go beyond that. And the way you do this from a conversation point of view with your sales team is to find out what their goals are and always remind them of their goals. Now, of course, their goals need to either meet or exceed your goals for the business because they need to help your business grow. But if you are always talking about, hey, you need to sell this much, you need to sell this much because we need to make this much money, that's not going to work. The conversation always needs to be around, hey, what are your goals and what do you need to do? What's the activity? How much do you need to sell? How many customers, how many clients do you need to help to reach those goals? And then you need to have a compensation plan that fairly compensates them for the energy and the work that they're doing and for the money that they're creating for your business. So in order to do this, you may actually need to look at what you're charging your customers, what your prices are, and you may need to actually increase those prices in order to compensate a sales team effectively. In my opinion, having the right compensation plan is everything to not only attracting the right salespeople to your organization, your small business, but it's also critical to making sure that you incentivize them to keep on performing for your business. Most of the time when I'm working with small business owners and they're talking about hiring a salesperson or hiring a sales team, or they have hired a salesperson or a sales team, or maybe they've just given sales responsibility to someone on the sales team, they do not set up a really good compensation plan that really incentivizes that person to outperform the goals the company has for them as far as growth. And so you should be paying a base, because this is going to cover the effort that they're spending when they're not actually in those specific sales conversations and sales roles. No matter how good your process is, no matter how good the salesperson is, they are going to have filtering time where they're doing sales calls, where they're doing outreach, where they're working with clients that are not leading directly to increased sales. Now, you can manage how much of their time they spend on this, but there is a factor of time where they're going to be spent on this because you have to filter through leads in order to find the sales. Then what you want to do is make sure you have a commission plan that is set up to incentivize them to never stop closing and creating more sales opportunities for your organization. Salespeople are going to be incentivized by meeting their own goals. So I'll talk about this in another video specifically on hiring salespeople, but you need to be able to incentivize your salesperson to outperform when they need to outperform and at least hit the minimum expectations that you have for them on the months when they're not so motivated to outperform. Salespeople are people. They are going to have good months. They're going to have low months. They're going to have just different times when they excel and different times when they're struggling, because they are people. But you always want to make sure that there's that incentive there to go ahead and encourage them to make sure that they're on track for their goals. And just because they have a low month doesn't mean that it's a low month where they do not hit the expectations or the goals that you have for them in the business. Maybe it's just lower than their outperforming month. Businesses also have seasons. Businesses have high seasons, they have low seasons. And so you want to make sure that in a high season, your salesperson can absolutely capitalize and make the most money that they can to compensate for the low season when they're not making quite as much. Now, if you're growing your company, you have your marketing machine in place, and every year you're getting bigger and bigger and you're getting more opportunity, this won't be as much of a problem, but you need to make sure that you have a fair and incentivizing compensation plan set up for your sales team to incentivize them to always perform, to always strive to get that next client, that next deal, and not have any excuse to not be focused on every call on how they can absolutely serve your customers, serve your leads with your services the best. And so if I'm developing a sales team for my own business or looking at a client's business and how do we create a sales machine either from scratch, meaning they have nothing in place, or from their existing processes, systems, and team in place, this is the process that I'm going to work in. This is the areas that I'm going to be focused on to improve. And there's obviously a bunch of little aspects in each one of these different topics, one of these areas. But this is the process that I'm going to go through to optimize what they currently have or build out a sales machine that is going to absolutely help them grow consistently and reach the goals that they have and grow from 6 figures to 7 figures. Hey guys, that's the end of the video. Thanks for tuning in. If you got some value out of that, make sure you go ahead and let me know by leaving a like. I'd love to hear your thoughts, questions, and comments down in the comments section. And of course, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you want to see more videos. We release 3 videos a week, one on sales, one on marketing, and one on VAs. And of course, if you want to check out some of our services or products, check out the links in the description, as well as you can find information on one-on-one coaching and consulting with me, where we can dive into the specific strategies and solutions that you need in order to take your business from 6 figures to 7 figures, or low 7 figures to more 7 figures.